Talk about an instant reality check. One disrespectful gesture outside the courtroom almost turned into a 6-month jail sentence. That's because judges have broad contempt powers when someone's conduct disrupts or disrespects court proceedings. Quick question, do you think the judge was too harsh or did he show the right amount of restraint?
You agree you violated the terms and conditions of your probation by having technical violations of your probation? I'll find there's a basis for the admission. I'm going to find. What did you just do? Hey, come here!
Hey, sir, come back in here. Come back in here.
You come up and sit and have a seat. You come up here. Now, have him sit right here. Have a seat, Mr. Cantrell. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
Yes, sir.
What is your name?
Mark Elkin.
What are you doing in this courtroom?
I was here seeing somebody going to court.
You left the room. You shot a bird and then said the F word when you walked out. Yes, you did.
Not a you.
I don't care who it was at.
Yes.
Now, that is a direct criminal contempt of court. Punishable up to 6 months in the county jail. Do you have any thing to say?
I apologize.
Before I go forward with this?
I apologize to the court, sir.
You understand how serious this is?
Yes. It's emotional right now, too.
I can complete this hearing right now, have you put in jail, and you won't see the light for 6 months. Now, this very seldom happens in my courtroom. This is serious. I don't care who you were shooting the bird at. If it was me, I'd just assume it'd be somebody else. My feelings are hard to hurt. That's not the first time a bird's been shot at me.
I apologize for disrupting the court, sir. That's all I can say.
What I
Emotional
suggest
right
you do is get out of this courtroom, get out of this courthouse. Go. Mr. Cantrell, come on up and let's finish this.
Calling case 2400499, people versus Jessica Pruitt. We're here for the third file appearances, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. Candace Mann on behalf of the people, P80652.
And good morning, Your Honor. Danian Woodson, P68870, on behalf of Ms. Pruitt, who is standing to my left. Ms. Pruitt, please state your name for the record.
Jessica Pruitt. Good morning, Ms. Mann, Ms. Brecker, and Ms. Pruitt. So this case is scheduled for 10 a.m., but I'm calling it now because all parties are here, because there seems to be an issue as to whether the parties want to settle this matter. And we have a jury that is waiting, called to the courtroom. And I understand after having a sidebar discussion with counsel, Ms. Pruitt, that you want to proceed to trial, but you want a new lawyer. Is that right?
That's correct. We have not spoken one time one-on-one about this case. I don't feel like I've been represented at all. I've not been guided. I've been kind of doing it on my own. And she's not, I don't feel like I'm being represented. She's great. I like her and everything, but I need somebody who's going to see what I'm talking about, going to.
Did she review the discovery with you?
She sent it to me in an email. We didn't really we've never spoke about anything.
You didn't discuss it with her today?
No.
You didn't discuss the offer today?
No, not the offer again. The last offer that she told me, I said no to.
So you're saying that you have not spoken about the case with your attorney this morning?
No, at all, period. Throughout this whole process. I've wrote emails stating my concerns and she's emailed me back. But we've never got to discuss the actual, events of what led up to this.
Well, we've had one. Let's see. We've had, just one moment, please. We've had a preliminary examination, an arraignment on the information, the disposition conference. Well, that was on the same date as the arraignment on the information, the calendar conference, and 1, 2, 3 final conferences. And
That's
you are
correct.
telling me now,
Well,
after 7 hearings, that you had not spoken to your attorney?
that
Is
is
that
correct.
right?
Yes, that is
Does that
correct.
make sense to you, Ms. Pruitt?
Well, I gave the benefit of the doubt. I was
It's
hoping
actually-
that
it's-
she would surprise me.
No, just a moment.
I don't know.
Just a moment.
I-
Just a moment.
Uh-huh.
It was really a rhetorical question
Okay.
because it doesn't make sense.
Well, it doesn't. That
It
we've
doesn't make
come
sense
this
that you
far.
would stop talking. It doesn't make sense that you would not have advised the court that you hadn't spoken to your lawyer in 7 hearings.
Right. I
Now,
understand.
what she did or didn't do is a different issue. But I have to find strict necessity to avoid manifest injustice to adjourn or reschedule a jury trial on the day of trial when all of the preparation for your trial is made before today, and there's a jury that is at this moment waiting for me to call them from downstairs. So do you intend to hire an attorney?
I do.
Okay, how long will it take you to do that?
I'm not sure. It won't find one today.
So how long do you think it would take you to engage an attorney?
Maybe a week or so.
I can't have a maybe. You know what your finances look like. How
Okay.
long will it take you?
A week.
If it would take you a week to get an attorney, then you really didn't qualify for a court-appointed attorney services, did you?
Well, yes, I did. I will figure it out. I mean, there are ways to get. There are ways to make.
Ms.
it possible.
Pruitt, your case needs to be tried or your case needs to be settled. Either way, you need to have an attorney.
I understand.
And I don't want to set a date for no reason. I need you, and this is my 3rd time asking you now, to give me a date where you can be confident that you can have an attorney of your choice whom you pay for standing beside you. How long will it take you to do that?
A week.
Okay. So we'll come back in a week. We'll schedule the jury trial at that time when you have a new lawyer. And does that work for you, Ms. Fredericks? February 20th?
Are you speaking to me, Your Honor?
It's Frederick, isn't it?
I'm Miss Mann, Your Honor.
No, not you. I'm sorry.
Pruitt?
Miss Woodson.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I've been calling Miss Frederick all morning. Miss Woodson. Does February 20th work for you because you are the lawyer until there's another?
I understand. I guess that's fine, Your Honor.
What time is that?
Let's see, at 9.
And just so you know, Ms. Woodson, I'm going to be looking into the allegations that Ms. Pruitt made today. They're very serious, and I cannot let them go unaddressed, especially because it appears that it is requiring the delay of jury trial. 9 a.m. Make sure that you tell your new attorney, Ms. Pruitt, of the date. And we'll see you February 20th at 9 a.m.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We're off the record.
Here's where things get interesting. Asking for a new lawyer on the morning of trial is one of the hardest requests to win. Judges have to balance a defendant's rights against the time, money, and preparation that's already gone into bringing in a jury. Waiting until the last minute is almost never a winning strategy.
Recalling case 2400496, People versus Jessica Pruitt. We're here for jury trial. Appearances, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. Candace Mann on behalf of the people, P80652.
Good morning again, Your Honor. Daniel Woodson, P68870, on behalf of Ms. Pruitt, who is standing to my left.
Good morning again, counsel. And Ms. Pruitt, please state your name again for the record, ma'am.
Jessica Pruitt.
Thank you. Thank you for coming back so quickly, Ms. Pruitt. When you left, I had another sidebar discussion with counsel, and I realized, while I was made aware, that I did not give Ms. Wooden an opportunity to respond to your allegations. So I'm going to do that now. Ms. Wooden?
Yes, Your Honor. The court instructed me at sidebar earlier today to call to find out exactly where Ms. Pruitt was, how far away she was, and if she was interested in the offer. At which point I stepped out into the hallway into the conference room and I called Ms. Pruitt, asked her how far away she was. She said she was on Grand River. I said, Grand River what? She said she was 8 minutes away. Then I asked her about the offer again. We discussed it. I explained to her that even if the narcotics were found to be not hers, she's charged with 2 felonies, and based on her behavior in the body cam footage, the resisting and obstruction charge was likely to happen. I also explained to her, when the officers told you to stop, you were supposed to stop. When you don't do that, that is failure to obey a lawful order. When you continue to thrash around, that's resisting. We had that discussion this morning. She said she wanted an attorney who believed in her, at which point I asked her if she wanted a new attorney, and she said yes. At that point, I went out in the hallway. I looked for the prosecutor. I explained to the prosecutor what happened. Shortly after that, Ms. Pruitt came into the courtroom. We asked for approach, and here we are.
So
I'll admit that Ms. Pruitt has changed her phone number. I just got an email from her this morning with a new phone number, and that's the phone number I used to call her when the court instructed me to call her. We have communicated primarily through email because the phone numbers that I have from Ms. Pruitt keep changing. We were supposed to discuss this case on Monday at 2:30. The phone number I had for her then, I didn't receive an answer. That's the same phone number I texted her at this morning at 7:45 to tell her we were in Judge Greig's courtroom. At 9 o'clock, I decided to email her to ask her if she received my text. She said no. She thought the court date was at 10. This when I reminded her, I told her 8:30. That's what she told me about childcare stuff in the email, and that's when she emailed me her new number to say that I can't remember, she said she lost her phone and her phone was broken.
okay, so her allegation that she's never spoken to you about the case is technically accurate, but you've had communication with her via email, is what you're saying.
Because of the lack of phone communication, because of the inconsistencies of the phone numbers, I have spoken to her before and after every court date. I have also worked with the prosecutor to try to make this offer as favorable as possible for her. We had agreed to not only dismiss the resisting obstruction, but to allow her to plead to 7411 in the possession charge and to do it as a no contest plea.
What's the offer, Ms. Mann?
Your Honor, the offer is for the defendant to plead to a reduced charge of count 1. It would be reduced from controlled substance possession of methamphetamine to attempt possession of methamphetamine, which reduces it from a 10-year felony to a 5-year felony. In exchange, the people are agreeing to dismiss count 2, police officer assaulting, resisting, obstructing, with a sentence agreement of 2 years probation, substance abuse evaluation and treatment as directed, anger management, 40 hours of community service. The defendant is eligible for a sentence under 333.7411, and the people would have no objection. And then any other terms or conditions or fines that would be set by the court.
All right, so Ms. Pruitt has indicated that she wants to secure her own counsel. And I will tell you this, Ms. Pruitt. After hearing from your lawyer, who's an officer of court, by the way, so I don't need to put her under oath. Anything that she tells me is the equivalent of being under oath because of her status as an attorney. So this is what you're not going to do. You're not going to talk while I'm talking.
Okay.
I said that when you were before me earlier, but you still seem to think you can talk while I'm talking.
I'm sorry.
It's hard because you need anger and impulse control management. That's why. Control yourself.
Okay.
This offer is exceedingly generous, especially the 7411 component. And although I have never done it, if you go to trial on this and you are convicted, I will be sentencing you with the fact that you had no defense in mind. Do you understand?
This is one of those moments lawyers notice immediately. The judge isn't punishing her for rejecting the plea deal, he's warning that the evidence appears much stronger than she thinks. And when a judge calls a plea offer exceedingly generous, that's usually a sign they're telling you to think very carefully before rolling the dice at trial.
She said music she sees something. And that's not okay. She might under oath.
Ma'am? Call her back here. Ma'am?
Right here.
Who are you?
I am Jessica's mother.
And your last name be Pruitt or something else? What's your
Something
name?
else.
What is
Walls. WALLS.
Thank you. Ms. Walls,
Yes, ma'am.
you're welcome to be in this courtroom anytime that you are in the area for that matter. This is a public space.
I'm aware.
I understand why your daughter interrupts people
I
while
knew
we
you were
talk.
going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You can't help it, can you?
I can't help defending myself when I feel like my rights are being violated. That's right. I simply was stating a fact that on the board downstairs, it does say 10 o'clock. I didn't take a picture of it,
Miss-
but I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Ms. Wall,
He said I
Ms.
needed
Wall,
to say it to
Ms.
him.
Wall, you have to stop talking. That's the way it works.
I see.
I would like for you to be welcome in this courtroom anytime your daughter is here before court. If you are disruptive once more in my courtroom, you'll be banned. That's why I brought you back to tell you that. Do you understand?
I understand.
Thank you.
All right.
Am I able to speak now?
I would
No.
like to.
We're stating the truth. It's
Ms. Wall? Ms. Wall?
You really want to repeat my motion, Your Honor?
No, I will not. The apple certainly doesn't fall far from the tree. I just wanted to tell you, you are not welcome back. Don't come back to my courtroom. That's it.
All right, now you can.
Have a good life.
I advise you not to say anything on the way.
And you're welcome to view on YouTube anytime your daughter has a hearing.
Now that's a courtroom exit nobody wants. Instead of helping her daughter, the interruptions shifted all the attention onto herself. Courtrooms run on order, and once someone repeatedly ignores direct instructions from the judge, patience disappears fast. Have you ever seen someone get banned from a courtroom like this?
Deputy, if you would unmute the inmate, please. All right, Mr. Bogan. I understand that you want to represent yourself. Is that correct?
Now, Addison T. Bogan is a corporation. I am here on behalf of that corporation. So, yes, I am the representative of Addison T. Bogan.
And why do
That's
you want to represent this company?
Why do I want to represent this company?
Yes. What
Because
credentials do you have? What credentials do you have to represent anybody?
I've been authorized by the United States government to buy, sell, and trade under this company.
Do you have those documents with you?
Ma'am, I'm incarcerated inside of a jail. Oh,
And when did you get those credentials?
No, don't worry.
when did I get those credentials?
Yes.
I've got these credentials October 18th, 1991.
How old are you, sir? How old are you?
Ma'am, I am a man of flesh and blood.
I know that. I can see that. I'm asking you how old you are.
You're asking me how old I am.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right. Let's just start this hearing because this is going to be interesting at best. All righty. So what are we going to do? Here's the thing, sir. I would not suggest you representing the company. All right. You do not have a legal degree. You have no legal experience. Apparently, it hasn't worked in the past because you have significant criminal history, but the law says that you have that right. So guess what? We're gonna go ahead and start your hearing. I don't think that's gonna be profitable for you, because you don't understand this process, but maybe you do. Maybe you'll surprise me. So
I'm going to make sure everything.
I'm sorry.
Permission to speak, Your Honor.
Yes, go ahead.
I want to make sure everything that I'm saying is on record.
Everything is on record.
Okay.
And so,
basically, I just want to let you know that I'm a man of flesh and blood speaking.
You already said that.
Okay.
We're about to start the hearing, sir, but you have to conduct yourself in a way that's conducive for the court, okay? You cannot interrupt. Just because you disagree with something, you're not going to cause a mockery of this court today. And so you've chosen to move forward by yourself. And so you're going to have to behave as if you understand the process.
Wait.
Hold on. I'm about to call the matter. And sir, do you know what you are charged with?
No.
I'm sorry. Do you know what the corporation is charged with?
Ma'am, under the United States law,
All right. So here's the deal. Either you're going to participate in the hearing or you can just go back. I'm not going to sit here and go back and forth with you about who you are and the credentials that the United States is giving you. I'm not doing it. If you're going to participate in this hearing, you're going to participate. So let me just tell you what you're charged with. You're charged with no insurance. And you're also charged with driving a motor vehicle with canceled registration. So if your position is that somebody gave you authority to drive without insurance and to drive without a validly registered vehicle, you might as well go back, because that's not going to fly. If that's your position, you might as well just waive. That's not a valid defense. So let me just go ahead and start this hearing. State of Georgia versus Addison Bogan, charged in 2025 WA 72814, no insurance. 2025 WA 72815, driving a vehicle without it being registered. Representing the state is Assistant Solicitor Bing. Mr. Bogan is representing himself. Go ahead, Attorney Bing.
Yes, I'd like to call Officer Stenfield.
Yes.
Hi. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you so much. If you could state your name for the court.
Officer Shillette Stanfield.
And can you tell us where you work?
I work at the Clayton County PD.
Okay. And tell us a bit about your duties.
Well, I work patrol, uniform division, and we respond to calls. We also do traffic and stuff like that.
Okay. And were you on duty on February 26th of 2025?
I was.
Were you at Terra Boulevard and Sherwood Drive?
I was driving northbound on Terra Boulevard.
Okay. And did you have cause to conduct a traffic stop that day?
Well, it wasn't a traffic stop per se. It was we have RTCC, which is the real-time crime center, using the FLOC system. A vehicle was observed on Terra Boulevard in Mount Zion Road, driving southbound on Terra Boulevard with that vehicle was stolen. So it was put on the radio. I was in the area. I started looking for the vehicle. As I was going north on Terra Boulevard, Sherwood Drive, I see the vehicle going southbound on the last lane, which is the third lane, and made a right onto National Colony Drive. And I then proceeded to make a U-turn, got behind the vehicle, looked for the vehicle, and I found the vehicle in front of a building at River's Edge Apartment. And then once I approached the vehicle, Mr. Bogan came out and asked him, "Are you driving the vehicle?" He said, "Yes, that's my car." And I said, I asked him if he had his ID on him. because the vehicle was reported stolen. At that time, he refused to give me his ID, and that's when I detained him for further investigation on the stolen vehicle.
Okay. And so how did you come to discover that he had no insurance?
After I detained him, checked the vehicle to GCIC, and GCIC revealed that the vehicle did not have any insurance and the tag was suspended.
Okay, and so, sorry, you mentioned that he didn't have any ID on him.
No, he refused to give his ID.
Right. But can you just tell us a little bit about that process in terms of how you're able to check a person's insurance if you don't have his ID?
The insurance is connected to the license plate, which is the registration. You check the registration, it tells you everything about the vehicle.
Okay, so you were just able to run the tag.
Yes.
And it told you that it didn't have insurance and it didn't have a valid registration.
It was also suspended.
Gotcha. Okay. Were you, at what point were you able to ascertain who the driver was? If he didn't give you the ID?
Well, after I placed him in custody, then I had some other units came. We placed him in the back of my vehicle because he was driving a stolen vehicle. And once I placed him in custody, we asked him, then he said his driver license was in the car. I went to the car and we retrieved his driver license from his wallet. And that's when we confirmed that the car belonged to Mr. Bogan at the time.
Okay, so the car belonged to him, so it wasn't stolen.
Well, the car was reported stolen. He reported the car stolen, but the car was actually repossessed. He went and got the car back. He never called back to have the car removed from being stolen.
Okay.
So he was driving a stolen car, but which was his car.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure I'm clear. You said that you didn't conduct a traffic stop, but you did observe him driving, or?
Yes, I did. On Terra Boulevard before he made that right turn on National Colony Drive.
Okay, and so when you were able to interact with him, he was parked or he was pulled over?
He was parked in front of the building.
Okay, so he had already parked on his own accord, and then you approached.
And then I approached, yes.
Do you see? Sorry. Let me go back for a second. Where you conducted the investigation, was that in Clayton County?
It was.
Okay, and the person that you arrested that day,
yeah, it's a black male, orange jumpsuit.
Okay, you see him here?
Yes.
Okay. And just for fairness, when you discovered he didn't have, it wasn't stolen because it was his, and you were charging him with insurance and no insurance and registration, how is it that he came to be arrested? Is that typical to be arrested for such things?
Well, that was another thing, and also he was shown to have once we check him on GCIC, he also was shown to have a felony warrant out of Gwinnett County.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that concludes my questions. Thank you.
And here we go, the Sovereign Citizen Playbook is officially open. Claims about being a corporation, a living man, or appearing on behalf of a legal entity have been repeatedly rejected by courts across the United States. They may sound complicated online, but inside a courtroom, they almost never change the legal outcome.
All right, Mr. Bogan, do you have any questions for the officer?
Okay. Under the United States Constitution, for a law to be broken, there has to be a victim involved. In your argument, you never stated that I, a man of flesh and blood, deprive anyone of liberty, life, or property. If you cannot provide me with the victim, then I demand all these charges be dismissed for lack of.
The victim is the state of Georgia.
Sorry, what was that, ma'am?
The victim is the state of Georgia. What is your next? That's an inappropriate question. Go ahead. What's your next question?
Basically, I just want to say that my rights have been infringed upon when I, a man of flesh and blood, was violently thrown in handcuffs and kidnapped and taken to a facility where I'm in constant fear of my life.
Is that a question?
Ma'am.
You can
ma'am, this is there is
no, I'm talking. When I'm talking, you don't.
I'm sorry.
This is the part of the hearing where you only ask questions of the officer. You'll get an opportunity to make your closing arguments at the end. But Only thing you're doing now is asking the officer questions. And the only questions you should be asking him is directly related to whether or not you did not have insurance. It should be related to the charges. We're not here to talk about your status or your corporation. So go ahead. Any questions for the officer?
Ma'am, I'm just trying to find out, who am I fighting against? Who exactly am I fighting against? Am I fighting against the officer? Am I fighting against the judge? Who is this argument against?
Logan, if you did not understand this process, you should have used your counsel. I'm not going to sit here. Do you want the counsel to help you?
No, ma'am, I don't need any help from any counsel.
Well,
it's not an argument.
I'm about to end this hearing. Do you have any questions for the officer? I'm being real patient here.
Your Honor, I'm just trying to find out.
Do you have any questions for the officer?
Okay, officer, did you see me, a man of flesh and blood, driving? You said you seen a car on Terra Boulevard. Were you able to identify me physically in that car traveling?
When I saw you driving on Terra Boulevard, made a right turn on National Colony Drive, I found the car parked in front of the building, and you came out of the building. I asked you, you asked me, was I looking at your car? I said, yes. Is this your car? You said, yes. I said, were you just driving it? You said, yes, because you were making DoorDash. And when I asked you for your driver license, you refused to give it. And after I told you the car was reported stolen, you still refused to give me your ID, which then I put you in handcuffs.
Sheriff, that's not what I asked you. I asked you,
sir, he answered the question. What's the next question?
Ma'am, I asked him. That's not the question I asked him. I asked him, was he able to identify me?
Because you don't agree with the answer, he answered. Go to the next question, sir.
Okay.
What's your next question?
Is there a victim in my case? Is there any victim in my case?
The state of Georgia is. Georgia already told you.
You said the state of Georgia is a victim?
Yes.
I don't understand the state of Georgia being the victim.
Right, because you don't understand the
process. Georgia is not a physical person. That's why you should have
used your attorney. You're right.
The state of Georgia isn't a physical person.
All right, so I'm going to buy his charge was over. Deputy, go ahead and take him away. He's done.
Ma'am, Your Honor.
He's found.
Your Honor, please, ma'am. Your Honor.
I told you you were not going to properly handle your case. I'm not going to keep listening. Just hold on. Hold on. Go ahead and unmute him. Go ahead and unmute him.
Your Honor, man, I'm just frustrated. I've been in jail. Like, I've been going crazy. Like, the things that I've seen.
Because you won't let anybody help you. You don't know what you're doing. You're losing, sir. You're losing. Would you like counsel to assist?
No, ma'am. I would not like counsel, ma'am. I just like to keep asking the officer the questions because it's simple fact.
I'll give you one more question. Make it good. Make it count.
Okay. So, basically, you said that I admitted to driving the vehicle. I'm asking you, do you have body cam footage of the whole incident?
I do. It was recorded.
Okay. Can I ask another question, Your Honor?
Go ahead.
Okay, so you said you seen me leaving the building and you gave me a chance. Why did you immediately put me in handcuffs when you didn't even identify me as a person?
Because you were driving a vehicle that was reported stolen, and when I asked you for your ID to verify who you were, you refused at that time, which is why I put you in handcuffs so we can investigate the stolen vehicle.
Okay, so I was never given the chance to talk or anything. The first thing you did was put the handcuffs on me, so I'm trying to find out what exactly made you put the handcuffs on me, because you didn't know who the vehicle belonged to at all, or you didn't give me a chance to identify myself. You just threw me in handcuffs when you seen me leaving from a building. I'm trying to find out what was your motive behind putting me in handcuffs? Because you just told the judge that you
All right, sir.
detained me.
When you give him a question, give him an opportunity to answer it. Go ahead, officer.
Okay, so you're driving a stolen vehicle. At the time, no one knows who the vehicle belongs to. You may say it belongs to you. I don't know that until you show me an ID so I can verify. When you refuse to give me an ID, I will put you in handcuffs so I can go and do what I need to do to make sure that you're not the one who stole the car or the car belongs to you.
Okay, so what were your exact words? Do you remember your exact words that you when you asked me for my ID or identification before you put me in handcuffs? Do you remember exactly when you approached me?
I told you the vehicle was,
say to me?
I told you the vehicle was reported stolen and I need your ID.
And I told you no. Do you remember exactly what I said?
Yes, you refused to give your ID.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
All righty. Any redirect, Attorney Bean?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Closing arguments. Go ahead, Mr. Boggin.
Okay, Your Honor. Basically, I'm just asking for a signature bond or any way to get out because of the simple fact that he said I had a hole in Gwinnett County. I don't think I have a hole in Gwinnett County because the day before I was arrested, I was just in this county jail one day, and then I got arrested the next day by this officer, Stansfield. So he said I had a hole in Gwinnett County. That's why I'm still here on these current charges, which are 2 citations. So basically what I'm asking is it any way I could just get a signature bond and deal with the charges that I'm already having to deal with in Gwinnett County, man? Because I'm just here for 2 citations, and I've been here 3 weeks, and I think that's more than time served, man.
Well, you know what, Mr. Bogan, had you spoke with your counsel, maybe he could have assisted you in doing something and speaking with the state about your case. But you're so busy talking about what you're talking about until you're doing yourself a disjustice, if that's a word, injustice. So you are wanted in Gwinnett County. You are on probation. You were sentenced to 5 years in 2022. For drugs.
That's not accurate information.
I'm looking at your criminal history. Yes, it is accurate. So no, you don't qualify for a signature bond at all. And you've been through this. I don't know why you acting like.
Okay, so basically what I'm saying is,
you have an extensive criminal history. At any rate, I'm binding both of your charges over to the state court of Clayton County.
If I die in this jail, it's Clayton County's fault. That's what I want to say. I want to say for the record, and I denounce any contract that I did not enter into freely and voluntarily and willingly.
All right, deputy,
okay, so do what you do.
Deputy, you can take him. Don't let him get killed. All right, so who do we have next?
This is the turning point. Instead of debating internet theories, the judge brings the conversation back to one simple question: legal qualifications. Courts operate on established law, not self-created legal theories, and once that happens, these arguments usually collapse very quickly. Stick around because this exchange only gets more dramatic from here.